Hello and welcome along to Football Life Stories, where we chat to people from our local area involved in the whole world of football. Really, don't forget if if you're not subscribed, hit that little subscribe button down there and give a little thumbs up to this video if you enjoy it. And for this episode, we are joined by not only a player, a referee, and also the Operations Academy manager at Stevenage. It's Jordan Gibson. Jordan, thank you very much for joining me for this, mate.
Thanks for having me, Simon. Appreciate it.
No, it's a pleasure, mate. Like I was saying to you, just before we started this, I want to get people from the whole world of football to give people the chance to see all the opportunities that are open to them, not only playing, but coaching and like you say, refereeing, being involved with what you do with Stevenage as well. There's a whole world for football for people to get involved in, isn't there?
There's so many avenues, and football's changed from when I started. There's so many different multidisciplinaries now that can get involved, that should be involved within football. It isn't just about coaching. It isn't just about managing. Physiotherapies, there's psychologists now, there's player care, there's safeguarding teams, there's specialized goalkeeping coaching, there's specialized in and out of possession coaches out there as well. So there's so many different avenues within football, and that's just the football coaching element. You have got refereeing, as you mentioned, that is something that I do. And there's so many good people out there that give up a lot of good time for football. But there's so many different avenues to explore for people, and we certainly try and encourage as many young people that want to give up their time to come and work within. And it's a great industry to work in. It really is. At any level, whether that's inspiring grassroots kids or whether that's semi-professional, the local clubs around here. You look at what it means to the fans, or whether it's higher up the football ladder. It's a brilliant industry, voluntary or paid for some of us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to take you back to when you was a youngster.
Yeah.
I'll start the same with you as I start with everyone on this series. And what was it that first got you interested in football?
I think it was just on the primary school playfield with my best mates, or my schoolmates at the time. I'm very fortunate. I've stayed with them the whole way through. And I remember, I know you had an interview with Andy Calvert not long ago. It was actually Andy's dad was my first manager, going back when I was 8-9 years old, playing for Buntingford Cougars. And that was really it. It was the unknown. It was only till probably about 14 where I got scouted for Luton, where football become a little bit more serious for me. Loved my time in grassroots football. It was brilliant. We had some good times there, fond memories with my mates who a lot of us are still in touch with now. I then kind of went off to Centre of Excellences at Luton and Stevenage, and that's kind of where it's taken off from there in terms of the interest in coaching. I wasn't good enough to be a pro, if I'm being really honest. I wasn't tall enough. I wasn't 6'2" for a goalkeeper. I was the dumpy lad that was put in goal at 10 years old, which was no problem with me. I did thoroughly enjoy it, but I wasn't good enough to be a pro. I went into non-league for a little bit. I drastically fell out of love about the age of 21. Didn't really have the motivation for it. Was coaching on the side of that, and I kind of had to make that decision. I either give coaching a real serious go, or I try and chase an extra tenner a week playing non-league football.
I mean, you still play now, though, don't you? Because obviously, I know you play for HARTHAM United on a Sunday in the East Herts Corinthian League.
Yeah, I hadn't played for about 8-9 years. Andy had been badgering me for years to come and play. I used to be in goal. I just didn't want to play in goal. Ended up playing on pitch. I absolutely love turning up on a Sunday and playing. The last 2 seasons, although this year's been a little bit injury ridden from a playing perspective, but It's it's a great charity, as I'm sure you're aware. It's just a very upsetting charity, but a very, very great charity, and lots of good work get done by the Calverts and loads of other people. And it's important for me to give something back to someone that helped me out from a very young age, or got me first into football. So, you know, there's a real deeper connection from my point of view as the reasons to why I play. And I absolutely love it. It's a great feeling turning up on a Sunday, putting the nets up, freezing cold sometimes, raining, getting moaned at, moaning at referees. But it's something that I do enjoy.
That's it. I mean, yeah, as you say, you know, it's wonderful work that they do. You know, all the money they raise is absolutely fantastic. And there's a charity game coming up. I know. When I spoke to Andy last, I wasn't sure if I could get the day off work for a charity game. Well, I have got the day off work. So,
Brilliant.
Andy, if you are watching, I will be down there on the 31st of July. Do you want to tell people who may not know about that, about the charity day a little bit?
Yeah, so each year, Andy, husband and wife duo, Andy and Kat, Andy runs the men's team. I think he's now moved to the women's team as well. So I think he's doubling up his Sundays. I think he's mental for that. But we do a charity game each year. We have a men's game in the morning to raise money. It's a real nice day. And then in the afternoon, the women's play. I might have got that the wrong way around. But they're always good events, and we try and encourage as many people to come through, watch. And the football might not always be pretty, but it's the actual cause that's the most important bit of the day.
Yeah, of course. And, you know, for anyone that isn't aware, you can find HARTHAM United or HARTHAM United Ladies on Twitter. Go on there, find out the details. It's at Wormley Playing Fields on the 31st of July. And you know, you can find entry details and you know ticket details and etc. on there. Let's move on from there to your refereeing. So you said about your coaching, you fell out a bit of love with that football, and you went into coaching. How did you get into the refereeing side of things?
It kind of just fell on my lap, really. I remember back in the day, it was 10 weeks. You did a course, an evening over a 10-week block. And I was fortunate. I think I was only 14 at the time. It was funded for me by my local grassroots club, Spun It for Cougars. And that's kind of where it started. And I think I have no idea why I enjoy it. I genuinely don't. I sometimes turn up, and you would have seen it, some of the referees, the stick they get, and we can't always win, but I can probably take it a little bit more than others. But I haven't really got a reason to why I do it. I definitely do it to try and keep fit, to have a run around, to burn some calories, to get rid of my tire. But it is enjoyable, and I haven't really got the reasons to why it's enjoyable. You know, now I'm at a decent level. You know, step 3 and 4. There's some really good teams. I did the Ware v Hertford game on I think it was the 27th or 28th of December, and it was a really good non-league game, watched by good people, played in a good spirit, under very difficult floodlights, but it was played. And you know, it was there's been some really good games. On the flip side, I'll be really honest with you, I've turned up to some grounds, I've refereed, and I've gone, why on earth do I do this? Because I don't need it. I don't need the aggro that people get. And I genuinely know why referees drop out of the game completely, because some of the players within certain clubs, and some of the managers as well, are they're not great. They're not great to work with. And I think I referee for enjoyment. You know, I don't always get it right, but I think players can relate to me, and they quickly get to understand that. You know, I can talk a little bit. You know, I'll talk on the pitch. I'll try and explain things. I'll try and see things from a player's point of view. And 9 times out of 10, you know, it has its positive effect on the game, or hopefully I think that. But there is other times as well where no matter what you do on the day or what you do on the afternoon, you can't win. You really can't. And that's the sad affairs of it, really. You can see why referees do drop out. I'm not one of these that wants to drop out, but work may hamper the full commitment. But it's something that I do enjoy, and I've had more good games to referee than negative ones, but there's been a couple of negative ones that you go, what is the point?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wasn't there at that Ware Hertford game. Unfortunately, I was absent with COVID, but you have been on the line, and and that in a few of the games that we've attended. But you were saying about you try and see things from a player's point of view. Do you feel that still playing and refereeing helps you in that aspect at all?
Well, not the playing side of things, definitely not. The coaching side of things, definitely, because it enables me to probably see the next picture, the next phase of play. What a centre forward's thinking, whether he's going to throw his leg into a centre half's leg and fall over and try and win a penalty. And even if there is contact, sometimes you're going to get it in the neck from one of the teams. It also enables me to use, I don't know if you can say the word in football, but it also enables me to use a little bit of common sense. Sometimes I can see things from players' perspective, and I can understand emotion, and I can understand if someone screams at you in a certain way, as long as that certain words aren't used, I can sometimes play a little bit, blind to it or deaf to it. But so it does have its benefits. The other side is it just enables players to talk to me, because I do like to think I am one of those that you can approach on a football pitch. You'll still get the odd player that is just you can't work with. You were bullied at school, or you ain't got a clue about football, and you're like you can't go back with, hang on a minute, I might know a little bit or anything like that. You just got to get on with it. But it definitely helps, and I would say more the coaching side than playing side has certainly helped enable me deliver games a lot more safely than maybe some others.
So are you one of those players that when you're playing, will you be the one that approaches the referee?
Sometimes. I would certainly say that I've got a good relationship with a lot of the local referees. I also referee on the East Herts League when I'm available, because I think it's important to give back to grassroots football, and there is a shortage of referees. And I genuinely believe the East Herts League is one of the best well-run leagues in and around Sunday League football around this area. And we have some really good referees that give up their time, that aren't perfect, but they're good people. And I think as long as referees are approachable, try their hardest, I think it's easier for some to approach a referee at Sunday League. And I haven't come across one on the Sunday League where they are dismissive or rude or anything like that. I've been able to help referees out in the past and go, hang on a minute, no, the referee's right. You can't have a go at him for that. He's right. You shouldn't have done that or whatever it may be. So it has helped me. It has helped me playing. Yeah, so like I was saying, it definitely helps. I will approach a referee, but I'll also back a referee if he's right. I'm not gonna try and belittle a referee on a pitch in any way. If he's right, hang on, fellas, no, he's right. You are, that is a red card, or get off the pitch. You should have been sent off. So I will help the referee. There has been times when I've wanted to kind of go like, no, you are wrong, and there is times that happens. But it's okay to go to a ref. Listen, sorry, you've got that wrong there, but let's get on with it, because they're human beings, and like I said a minute ago, there's some really good people on the East Herts League that if it weren't for them, we don't have the game. It's as simple as that.
So with that, you were saying about your refereeing might be hampered with work and things like that. Where do you think your refereeing can take you? Because I know a couple of weeks ago or so, you was on the line for the Southern League playoff final, wasn't you?
National League South player final, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've just been promoted to the National League as an AR. AR is not the route I want to go down. It would only ever be refereeing if I was to make a choice. If I'm honest, I wish I gave refereeing a go about 5-6 years ago. you never know where I'm going to be. I'm in a really good place at work at the moment. I really enjoy what I do. Like I say, it's a great industry to be involved in, and ultimately my career is number one, and that has to take priority. So that I was able to commit every single Saturday and Tuesday this year. I think I probably did too much refereeing. I think people don't realize, actually, refereeing Saturday, Tuesday for 10 consecutive games is a hell of a lot. It doesn't happen for a player. And I know people go, oh, most referees only stay in the centre circle. I try and run a little bit, or waddle, as some people might say, but I try and get around the pitch. And in truth, it can be mentally draining as well. So I certainly won't be doing every Saturday and Tuesday next year. And if I was to do it, it'd be dependent on availability and my workload and what my work schedule looks like. Touch wood, so far it works quite nicely, but you never know what does change. But there will always be a little bit of that in a motivation to want to deliver a game safely and whatnot. But we'll see. Still early days. Still only the 9th of June.
So how does that work? So you say you won't be available Saturday, Tuesday. So do you have to notify, like, the referees board or whatever of your availability, and
Yeah,
then locate your games from there?
Yeah, so we've got when you get to a certain level, it's mainly level 4, really, if I'm being honest. We have to use an online diary, almost, we call it MOAS, Match Officials. What I can't remember the administrative system. So we have to basically put in our availability on that calendar, and it's really important as well. Referees give that the proper time and attention, because the worst thing you want to do is not open a date, not close a date. The FA give you a date and you got to go back and go, I'm really sorry, I can't do it. I forgot to close my date. Now, there is times where the FA will go, no, it's fine, I get it, if it's a one-off. But if you're doing it continuously, you're probably right in your own ending to refereeing, I suppose, because you have to show a level of commitment at certain stages. So as a level 3, at the beginning of each month, I'll always plan a month ahead. So plan my timetable. I'm always closed Monday to Friday morning and afternoon. My evenings are relatively free and open. So Tuesday, I end up getting a number of games. Saturdays, I always close my mornings off because I'm watching football. Or when Jakey Bunyan was playing, I was his coach. So I'd always have the mornings off, and then I'd go and, if I could, referee somewhere locally in the afternoon. And what I would say is, from what I hear, historically, the FA didn't care about locations or anything like that. They've now been really good. And the two people that I have to, my line managers in refereeing, they're really good and supportive with supporting not only me, but other referees in their locations, and ensuring that games are covered.
So at this sort of level, would you, if you're refereeing, would you have the same kind of assistance generally?
So as a level 3 referee, I'll have level 4 assistant. So I'll have a referee that will referee on the Essex Senior Premier Division or the South Midlands Senior League, and they'll tend to come out with us all the time. Very rarely does a level 3 go on the line. There is what they call specialist ARs now. So there is a couple of people that are solely specialist ARs, and that just do assistant refereeing because they don't want to referee for whatever reason, or their marks are higher in lining and they're going places. I had one last year that's had double promotion, was on my line as a level 3. It was a level 4 AR specialist. He went up to level 3 and doing National League South, and now he's also been promoted to the National League Premier. So he stopped refereeing to go down the lining route, and it's certainly working for him. So there is more opportunities in other aspects for referees now.
So what about any youngsters that might be watching, thinking of perhaps going down that route? What would you say to them, and what advice would you give them?
The biggest advice I can give them is just go and enjoy it. And if you can become a student of the game and understand the game as a bigger picture, and that is refereeing, watching football, and having that passion for football as a whole, then you will deliver football games safely. And you know, there can be a buzz. You know, like I mentioned earlier, Ware v Hertford at Ware, it was a nice feeling. A good step 4 game, local derby, decent crowds, good atmosphere. You know, they're really good occasions. And if you can get to a certain level, and I genuinely think level 3 is a really good, strong level of football to officiate in, you can really enjoy it. There will be hard times. There's no doubt about it. I've had it this year as a level 3. There'll be games where you walk away and go, I wish I didn't do it. But if you can be thick-skinned, understand the reasons why you do it because you love doing it, or you enjoy doing it, or you want to give something back. Understand that in refereeing, but in life, it's never straight sailing. You know, there is ups and downs, but there is a lot more highs than lows within refereeing. And you know, if I look at all the games that I've had, 95% of them I've really enjoyed. 5% I've really like gone, wow, I did not enjoy that. So you know, the percentages of enjoyment are a lot greater. So for any young lads watching, or not just lads, females as well, because the opportunities in for female referees is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and rightly so. So, you know, it's there's lots of opportunities out there, and there'll be some referees that are better suited to lining. That's not a problem. You can still go really high in the line. There's now specialist routes when you get to a certain level, but you know, you're an important part to the game as a referee, because without referees, the game doesn't exist, and that is the reality. But another bit of advice: please don't just do it for the sake of doing it, because you won't do it properly, and players will find you out. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. Please go and do it to give something back, to give, you know, deliver the game safely, or to provide a good level of officiating, or that level to be respected, to be whatever your motivation is, whether it is getting fit or whether it is earning money. If it is just for the money, at least do the game properly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I want to come on to the negative side of things, because you know, you see it week in, week out on Twitter. You know, people saying about, you know, referee decisions, this, that, and the other. And there is one Twitter account, Ref Support UK, who they're always saying about, you know, abuse, especially, you know, the younger referees and, you know, lower level referees that they get. That's going to happen, isn't it? But I said before, when I spoke with Scott Langley, referee I had on before, if there is someone that, you know, experiences that, you know, young person, or, you know, whatever age you are, but make sure those people get reported. You know, report it to the club, report it to the welfare officer, because that sort of thing can't happen. And that's the sort of thing, as you know, alluded to before, that's the sort of thing that, you know, takes the referees away from the game, isn't it?
Yeah, I think if you look at what football clubs have now, and let's talk about grassroots football for the moment. They've got coaches that are DBS checked. They've got safeguarding teams. They've got welfare officers. You know, there's a greater care now for players, and I would question: is there as much as for referees? Probably not as much as there should be. Probably not. But you know, the Ref Support UK, you know, there is a Facebook group and a Twitter page and things like that, and they do some unbelievable work to support referees and keep referees in the game. You know, I have seen messages where referees talk about, you know, open forums where referees talk about, I've had a really tough game, and there's so many referees that jump on it. Don't give up. You know, you are important. You're a valuable member to the association. So there is some really good support out there, and I know the Hearts FA are currently building a greater support network. East Hearts Corinthian League, go back to them because I'm obviously associated with them. That they have got a number of senior referees that are there to support the younger ones coming through, and that's invaluable. Did I have it going up? No, maybe I'm a little bit old school, bit thicker skinned. But the support is there, and it is needed more so than ever now. And you know, there is a lot of abuse for referees, but they're the easy targets. There's only 3 of them compared to 11 of them, and the reality is most referees give up the game playing because they weren't quite good enough to be players, but doesn't mean they're not good enough to be referees. And, you know, there's some players that I've refereed that I'd love to give a whistle and let them referee a game, because I bet they couldn't do the job. I genuinely don't think they could. I'd love to see how some of them cope. I really would.
Going on a different tangent of things, how about ex-pros? So we're talking, senior, top level of football. How about them becoming referees? What sort of aspect of the game? I know it's a question that's very often asked, but do you think they'd be able to bring anything to it at all?
Well, yes, they can bring something to it, because they've got a good level of understanding of the football game. So I mentioned earlier about seeing things maybe a little bit differently, using a different way of management skills. But being an ex-player doesn't make you a really good referee. It doesn't, and I think I've mentioned it already. I would love to see some of the players referee. Even at step 3, I'd love some of those players to come in and actually referee and see what it's like, because I think that might make them rethink what they're like. There is many good initiatives that the FA are doing to try and encourage players to, once they do either hang up their boots, to get into refereeing. But I think once you've been a professional footballer, and we're talking top end, I can't see them ever wanting to referee locally or anything. There'll probably be some, but I would say referees are more likely to be the players that played at this type of level, step 3, step 4, that have got a decent understanding of the game, that are maybe not good enough to be pros, but could go down another aspect in refereeing. But yeah, I'd love to see some players definitely referee.
I think that the problem, as you say, with the ex-pros and things like that, is there's so many other avenues for them to go down. Coaching, all the media work and things like that. It's an easier route for them, isn't it? Really,
so it's a more attractive route as well. Is refereeing attractive? Absolutely not. At this moment in time, it's not attractive compared to the money that's being thrown in the media, being thrown into coaching. Working in youth academies, category 1 and 2s, they've got some big money flying around. There's many different great jobs around for people to get involved in. Is refereeing becoming more and more attractive? Yes. Are the FA working hard behind the scenes? Yes. Because there is lots of initiatives, like I said, to referee. You've got the FA Core project. You've got the Hearts FA Young Referees of the Year. So there is rewards to refereeing that might not have been there 10, 15 years ago. But is it attractive for senior pros? It'd be lovely to see Rio Ferdinand, Mika Richards, or Thierry Henry, Roy Keane even referee a charity game or something along those lines. It'd be lovely to do that. I just can't imagine them getting the phone call from the FA going, "You fancy a game to referee?" No, I don't. Can't imagine their answer.
On Soccer Aid or something.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah.
But I certainly understand why people lower down do go into refereeing, or they're not quite good enough to be pro, so they go down a different avenue to give them a different string to their boat, very similar to what I've done.
Yeah. I mean, let's move on from the refereeing side of things. So let's talk about things at Stevenage. You're the academy operations manager.
Yeah.
What does that actually entail?
That entails a bit of everything. That entails overseeing the 9 to 18s program. That entails some administration duties. It's a really vast job. It's a really enjoyable one, and it's evolving all the time. I oversee the college program, the 16 to 19s college program. I oversee pathway centres, development centres to support grassroots kids wanting extra training. I ensure that we're fit for audit purposes, but it isn't just a one-man band. We've got some really good people that work at Stevenage Academy. And there's a lot of hard work that goes on behind the scenes. We're well supported by the club. We've produced a number of players for the first team. We've produced a number of players to go on and play for high category. But Ben Wilmot's probably our record. Well, he is our record transfer from Stevenage to Watford. Played for Watford in the Premier League and is now Stoke, I believe, in the Championship. So, you know, there's lots of rewards to it, and my job is to kind of be one of those that sits at the top of the academy to ensure that everything is working together, but we're all in it together. It doesn't matter whether you're a part-time coach. We're always one, and it's a really good place to work.
So I mean, you say you work from the under-9s upwards. So I know club I coach at. We've had a couple of youngsters that have signed academy forms or whatever for Stevenage. So how do you go about finding those youngsters for like under-9s, under-10s, etc.? Do you have scouts that go out and watch your local grassroots games and keep an eye on these kids?
Yeah, so we have a head of recruitment, and he has a small team of scouts. It's relationship building. It's trying to do things properly and not try and be a big fish in a small pond in the local area. We try to do things properly. We got a lot of good relationships because of the types of people that are within our academy. They know a lot of people. Football's a very small world, so you end up knowing each other. And it's just about, open, honest communication with people, because that sometimes there's managers that might ring us up and go, oh, listen, I've got this really good player. He's well worth looking at. And I think that's a sign of relationships being built. We've been approached by clubs to be partner clubs, which is beneficial for them, but it's also beneficial for us. And we've got a lot of good, young, talented players from under-9s all the way through to under-18s, obviously, and beyond into the first team, young pros, etc. But we do have a recruitment team, but I'm responsible for recruitment. A head of coaching is responsible for recruitment. Youth development phase, it isn't just my job is solely this. We all want to try and help the club, and we all want to try and find the best local talent if we can, and provide them with an elite training experience. So
under that, are you just with the boys, or do you take take the girls' side of the academy under your wing as well?
No, we don't take. We're solely the male side. We don't take. We don't work with the foundation who look after the women's GDC, the girls' GDC. A lady called Danny Toyne looks after that. But what I would say is we've really started to work closely with the community, because they've got some good coaches as well. So hopefully there will be a crossover at some point where we can provide extra coaching, extra support from our academy. And I know our head of coaching has supported Danny with some CPD events for their coaches to try and enhance their skills. And so we don't run it. We don't have any control over it. We're one club. Although they're two different departments, we try and support each other the very best they can. They train on our site, Shepherd Sports Academy. And we're very much arms are open. We'll help you out in any way we can. So yeah, that's probably as far as the relationship goes at this moment in time.
Yeah. So how about once the players that they get to 16 years old? I presume they're playing for the under-18s. You're keeping an eye on them. How about sort of like how does it work? Do you look sometimes to farm them out or loan them out to local non-league sides, perhaps to get them some game time and some experience in playing men's football?
Yeah, naturally we try to do that. We try to identify people that we know, so managers that we know that we believe would be in the best interest of the player as well. So naturally, whenever we send a player out on loan, we want them to play every single week, every single minute. But that isn't the reality of what non-league football is like. So we try to send them to managers that will give them the best opportunities, that will be really honest and upfront with them, that if they're cutting it and they deserve to play, they play. If they don't, then they don't deserve to play. So it's identifying clubs, working with clubs, building those relationships. And certainly when they get to a second year age where they're an under 18 and it's we don't have a 21s program, although we play unofficial 21s games. We need to provide extra strategies. So sometimes you send a player out on loan somewhere, they don't get a pro, they might get an opportunity to go back there and earn some money whilst doing a degree or teaching qualification like Jakey Bunyan's doing, where he's gone into non-league doing really well, but he's also doing really well in his life and his career as well. Didn't quite make the grade as a pro, but overall is doing very, very well. And that's success for us as well, because the reality is the numbers that do make it are very small. So if we can provide players with a greater life skill set, then I think that's just as important.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Jake. Obviously, he was a guest on here a few weeks ago, and he said, something, when he was released from Stevenage, you offered him some sort of like coaching capacity role, but he spoke very highly of you, Jordan. So for that benefit, can you? And he was also saying to me, about he was always the one that was cleaning the gym because he made such a good job of it. But can you talk me through like a typical day or a typical week for one of those graduates?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, Jake is just a top lad, and I still stay in touch with him now, and it was a little bit surreal refereeing him, but he wasn't a player that I knew when I was refereeing, but he's got a very good family support network. His dad's excellent as well. So I'll always probably stay in touch with Jake to see how he's doing. But yeah, we certainly offered Jake a coaching role, and the reason we did that is because of the type of human being that he is. So we don't often do that. It's very rare that I think Jake was probably one of the first that we did it with, where we offered him a coaching role alongside, being around the place and trying to carve a career in the sporting industry. He's gone his own way and he's doing very well. So we're really pleased with that. But typically an apprenticeship scheme is very different to a college 16 to 19s BTEC program. So so our apprentices fall under the league football education, and they do education with the league football, and they work under a sporting excellence program. And they typically train 2 hours on a Monday, double sessions on a Tuesday, double sessions on a Thursday, single Friday, and playing the Youth Alliance League games on a Saturday morning against other Category 3 clubs. So it's very, very full on, very intense. They have a really good footballing network or program. They then have strength and conditioning programs. They then have a really good education program behind it. So, they get all the benefits of being they train probably more than professional footballers. But they're learning some key education as well as typically an education 16 to 19s is single sessions education, swap every single day, and games on Wednesdays, weekends off. So it's a very full on. You have to be very committed. You have to learn some basic life skills. Jake talking about cleaning the gym, he was meticulous with that. But he was meticulous with a lot of other jobs as well, and the way he behaved. So, we've had some really good scholars over the time, apprentices over the time, who, that they go on to do really well in loads of other aspects. But it's a full-on, intense program, and the hardest part for anyone is the beginning of the first years, is when they finish school. So this year, for example, we'll have people in exams on the 23rd and 24th, and then they're back into training on the 25th, because that's we actually start on the 23rd because the season's earlier this year. So they're going from a part-time footballer that's just studied exams. Yes, they'll be given off-season programs to work towards, and then bang, you're straight into it, and your body takes a massive hit because you go from 3 times a week, lots of rest, lots of recovery, to bang, hammering the body in the best way possible, to try and get them ready for the rigors of being a professional football player. So this period, there tends to be a lot of fatigue in the body, because it does hit them a lot harder.
And would they have much interaction with the first team at all?
So we're based on a separate site. COVID made it very difficult, but we do have our own pitch up Bradbury, which is about 1.5 miles away. It depends. It's all about opportunities. If the players deserve the opportunities, they get the opportunities. You know, this year we had a young lad make his league football debut. We've had another young lad sign his professional contract earlier in the year. So we've had 2 people make their debuts this year. So, you know, it's about opportunities. You know, as a football club, we haven't been in the best position the last few years. There certainly feels like a much better vibe around the place, and a bit more energy and reinvestment's gone into it. So, you know, it's a really exciting time to be with us. We've got a manager that come in last year, kept us in the league, was brilliant. Will definitely hopefully put us at the top end of the table. So, you know, it's about opportunities. We train up there a lot. We go up there probably about 2-3 times a week now. Or we will be going up there 2-3 times a week. There's been times when we've been up there every single day. There was times when we haven't been able to get onto it because they've needed the pitch or something along those lines. But, you know, we've got some really good facilities. There is definitely a close link. The chairman's very keen on that. But the players have to be good enough. The players have to earn the right. And it's important that we as coaches bang the drum for the ones that deserve that opportunity.
So how about you say that, you know, bang the drum and you know, make people aware of those that deserve their opportunity. How much interaction and liaison do you have with, you know, the first team coaches?
So we have one of the first team. We have what we call a technical board, and that's where first team and youth team coaches they get together. They discuss loads of things. We have a weekly meeting with the first team manager to discuss the ongoings of the academy. So it's on a heavy basis that the first team, the senior staff know what's going on down the academy, and I think that's really important that they do have that engagement. Was it difficult last year at times? Probably was a little bit more difficult because we were fighting for relegation, so the gaffer wanted to certainly keep us in the league, and thankfully he's done that. We know already that there'll be some young players playing and in pre-season as always, and then it's down to them. You know, we go back many years ago. We had one lad, Ben Kennedy from Ireland. You know, he was out the picture. He was nowhere near it. He played 1 game in the FA Youth Cup against Everton and was magnificent. We hardly ever saw him again. He was with the first team. He then went on to go and play many years with the first team, done really well, represented his country. So it's about opportunities, and it's about when you're there taking them. You know, sometimes we do 11v11s, or we did do 11v11s with the manager and his team. They watch, and then it's another opportunity for them to showcase what they can do. And the harsh reality is, if you don't showcase, you don't get the rewards. If you do showcase, there's no doubt in my mind that the rewards will be there.
Excellent. Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating to hear all the ins and outs of it. You know, thanks for that. But I am going to come to the quick fire questions now for you. So apart from Steve, you can't say Stevenage. Which team do you support?
Chelsea.
Okay. Do you have any pets at all?
Yep, I've got a cavapoo called Rupert, and I've got a cat called Elvis.
Okay. Pepsi or Coke?
Oh, Pepsi. Full fat Coke I don't do. Coke Zero, different question.
Oh, all right. Okay. Tea or coffee?
Oh, coffee all day long.
Yeah.
I live with it.
When you're playing, your post-match drink?
Post-match?
Yeah.
Yazoo milkshake.
Yeah, when you're playing. Yeah.
Post-match.
Okay.
Post-match. I'm not a big beer drinker.
It's
We
fine.
don't go to a pub, unfortunately. We don't go and watch Soccer Sunday or anything like that. We play at Hartham, so we can't get to a pub.
Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand. Ronaldo or Messi?
Ronaldo.
Okay. Who was your favourite player growing up?
Frank Lampard.
Okay. Um, who would
Yeah.
yeah? Who would the referee be that you most look up to?
Current or retired?
Either or.
Truthfully, Howard Webb. I love the way he dealt with things. I don't know. You just get a feel. I'd love to be as good as Michael Oliver, but I never will be there. But Howard Webb was the one I went. Yeah, I like his style.
When you say Michael Oliver, when I spoke to Scott, the referee I done previously, he said he's the best referee we've got. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so now. I really like there's one referee that come up, and I remember it. So I was with the first team for a year. So I was one of Darren Sarle's coaching staff for a year, and we went to Accrington and Stanley away, and I remember Michael Salisbury got promoted to the Premier League last year, and really humble man. And the pitch was in doubt. So at Accrington is a bit of a it's a nicer place now, but anyway, it bit of snow on it, and one area of the pitch was really like boggy, and he was umming and ahhing, and he was instead of being one of these that it's snowing, it's cold, I'm gonna get this game off, he got a fork himself, and me and him and the groundsman were all trying to dig in this area. And I remember speaking to another referee after. I went, I genuinely think he's going to go places because he's got this humbleness about him, and he was brilliant the way he refereed, and now he's on the up. And I believe he could be, I believe he could be one of the top referees in the country in the next couple of years. Michael Sales.
One to keep an eye on, definitely. Then, if you're refereeing, what would your night before and day of the game preparation be?
Right, night before is quite a chilled out night. Water, dog walk, really relaxed now. It could be work, it depends where I am. I'm very good at switching things on and off, so I don't think about refereeing until I actually have to travel, and then I'm on the phone the whole journey to another referee or another friend, or if I'm going to a youth game in the morning, I don't even think about my game in the afternoon until the game's finished. And then that journey on the way is when I start thinking about the game, or start thinking about or even thinking about the game that I've just had. So I'm not one of these that's religious in how I prepare. I'm just very much, right, I've got to referee a game here, go and referee a game. If my coaching, completely different story. There's a lot more in-depth work that needs to go on to that, but yeah, no real pre-match rituals apart from phone calls in the car.
What is your earliest football memory?
Playing.
Either, whatever. Earliest memory, playing or watching or whatever.
You know what? There's lots of memories. My first stadium was Hull City's the old ground. I remember going there with my dad, Hull City v Leyton Orient, and it was in 1998. I think that was when I lived up north for a year. I remember my first few games. I was rubbish. Bovis Park. I remember that. I got some really good memories, to be fair. When I played, I was always in pretty good, successful teams, especially for the Stevenage academy years, 16 to 18, and then I played for a non-league club locally who was very successful, won lots of trophies. So I got lots of memories. I can't really pinpoint the very first memory.
Okay. What about your favourite moment in football?
90th minute, 1-1 against Luton Town at home. Me and the manager going absolutely mental at the fourth official about the time. And all of a sudden I'm waving this watch in his face, the fourth official. It's been 4 minutes, it's been 4 minutes. And then we break away, and within 10 seconds, me and the manager are running down the sideline, cheering, and we're all going absolutely mental because we beat our local rivals. That was that was an unbelievable experience. So I'd probably say that's probably one of my biggest highlights, beating Luton Town in the last minute, a Matty Godden winner. Might have been Tom Pett actually. But anyway, one of those two, last minute winner. That was a memory to really salve. I was lucky. Spending that year, it isn't where I want to go in my future, but I learned a hell of a lot, and I work very closely with Darren Sarr, the Woking manager now, Glenn Roeder, bless him. Some real years of experience there, and that was probably the highlight of my education in football, I would say. But there's been some great times. There really has. You don't do it otherwise, do you?
No, you don't. What year was that?
15-16 season. There's a really good YouTube clip, and you'll see it, where we just absolutely bolt it down the sideline. But that was probably my one of my favourite games. But then we beat Luton at Kenilworth Road, and if you've ever been to Kenilworth Road, it's one of the scariest atmospheres at times. Well, not scary, that's the wrong word. One of the most daunting atmospheres at times, and walking in the tunnel in the corner, getting absolutely pelted by the fans with the manager after winning 2-1. I think it was a late Michael Tong penalty. They're memories that I think I'll always have with me, because you can't replicate them again. Unless I go into first team football, which is very unlikely at that level again. You can't replicate them, but I'd probably say them. And then actually, I've got to keep talking about this because they're brilliant memories. Beating Luton in the FA Youth Cup, it was, the Luton v Stevenage back in the day were fierce local rivalries at youth team football. They're not so much now, but they were fierce, and we beat him at Kenilworth Road with Ben Wilmot header and an Andronicus Giorgio screamer. And to beat them, they were top of our Youth Alliance League, and we went there as as underdogs. That was probably our best FA Youth Cup year. Got to the fourth round, just narrowly lost to Middlesbrough that year at the Lammock. So there's been some really, really good, enjoyable memories in that as well.
Excellent. Any other sports you play at all?
Just started to get into golf. And I got to be honest, for anyone that goes golf, it's brilliant. I'm not very good at it. I'm right at beginning stage, and but I remember being Tyson old man's no, get into it as young as you can, because it is absolutely brilliant. It's a good social side to it. There's it's just I don't know how to describe it. I'm still not convinced it's a sport, but it is such a good game to play. So it probably is a sport, but it's not a high energy sport, but it's so good, and there's a great social side to it. So I really like that. I love tennis. I haven't played it for a few years, but used to really like tennis. So yeah, they're probably the other two sports that I enjoy the most. I don't mind watching a bit of cricket.
So excellent. Final question for you then, mate. Have you ever done an initiation song, and what song is your go-to song?
So my initiation song at uni, and Louis Rose was the captain. So Louis Rose, where captain, was our captain at university.
Yeah.
My initiation, because he loved to drink. The nights out were good.
No, never.
Yeah. So we what's it called? This is going to sound bonkers. I was going for a break with one of the ex-misses years and years and years ago. I'm going back 10 odd years ago, so the current missus won't mind. And I sung Adele, Someone Like You, on a karaoke. And that was my initiation song. And I'm tone deaf, so I can't sing. So you can imagine, it was a fresh song at the time. I was doing it for the reason everyone knew it and all that. But that was my initiation song at uni. If I was to do another initiation now, it would probably be the Killers, Mr. Brightside. I went to go and see them Saturday at the Emirates, and they're just my favourite band. I missed out on Liam Gallagher because I got my dates wrong, but I'd go anywhere to see the Killers if I had tickets. So that would be my new initiation song.
You say about being tone deaf reminds me a time I went up with a couple of friends to visit a friend up in Darlington, and we went out on the town one night. Our friend was working, and we walked into this bar, and karaoke bar. Oh, two lads from London, Carl, you got to do a song. There must have been, I don't know, about 50 people in the bar. We sang Red Red Wine by UB40, and we was that bad, we cleared the bar and they stopped it halfway through.
Yeah, I don't think I was that bad. I mean, I probably did stop early, but listen, the karaoke is karaoke, isn't it? It's a laugh. It's, I know some people get really nervous about it. In fact, I think an Adele song was my initiation at work as well, in front of the under-18 scholars when I first got my first full-time job. I think Adele was probably that as well. God knows why I did Adele. What a terrible choice. But yeah, initiations are the best. You can't beat them. You've got to do it on any long away trip. I know you see it on Twitter. Coming over Twitter the next few months when players sign for clubs. There's going to be lots of terrible songs, but they are what brings teams together. Those types of events, and you can't beat initiations. And maybe if I referee next year and I've got a new referee, I'll video them doing it. But that's whether they do it.
There you go. That's the idea.
First referee to film a referee doing an initiation, where FC's changing room or something like that.
Sounds good. I look forward to that. Well, Jordan, it's been absolutely fantastic speaking to you, mate. Thank you very much for this. Very, very insightful. And I hope some people watch it can take something out of it. So thanks again, and I'm sure I'll see you again soon.
Yeah, thanks very much, Simon. Really appreciate it. Keep up the good work on the videos and the non-league stuff that you do, because you can't beat non-league. It's a great part of football.
Excellent. And I'll see you soon. I'll see you on the 31st of July, mate.
Yeah, definitely. Don't hammer me on the commentary though, please.
I don't think there'll be commentary there, but hopefully some video. But yeah, looking forward to it, mate.
Perfect. Cheers, Simon.